We're in the sermon series called Undaunted, and one of the things we looked at last week, and we'll look at it again this week, is that sometimes life is just overwhelming. We may use the word daunting. There's just things in life that sometimes one of the things I said last week is our responsibilities are greater than our resources. But something really cool can happen when we can take on a challenge that's daunting. Something really cool can happen when God gives us a vision and we just think this is like too much. Because one of the things we're going to discover is that when God gives the vision, God will give the provision as well. So I want to talk this morning a little bit to Chris Syme. He is on your left, and Rick Schmidt, he is on your right. These two are leading trips this year, international mission trips to Belize. Rick will be leading that trip in June. And then Chris is going to be leading a trip to Uganda in November. So Rick, I want to talk to you first, and just you're part of Faith Westwood. We've kind of inherited the Belize trip from our parent church. So you first went to Belize almost 10 years ago, is that right?
January 2004 was the first trip I went on.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your first trip to Belize. You're from Omaha, you get down to Belize. Tell us a little bit about just some of the challenges you guys faced during that trip.
It was the first mission trip I had ever been on, and I was excited about the trip, and I really had felt that I was being called to go. And when I got there, I really kind of felt out of place. I mean, the first thing that we were doing when I got there was we were building some classrooms, and we were at the point where we were putting the roofs on the classrooms. So I was up working on a roof, and I mean, is Jim Harford here? Because okay, good. Then he can't validate this story. I'm really good with a hammer. I mean, I had never done anything like this before, and it was hot. We were in the sun, and I was up there pounding nails, and by the end of the third day, I was thinking, I'm glad I came down here to do this, but I would never do this again. I am homesick. I am ready to go home. It was daunting. I mean, it was in a strange place doing something I had never done before.
All right, so how many times have you been to Belize?
I've been on 9 mission trips and 1 wedding trip.
So you've been to Belize 10 times, once to get married.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did you meet your wife in Belize?
I didn't meet her in Belize. I met her in the church at Faith Westwood, but that was part of how we got together. Yeah.
Good. We generally don't encourage mission trips as dating services, but
but if it works out, go with it.
But I remember going to your wedding reception. That was a great day, and it's cool how God does work. Now, Chris, me and you both kind of had a vision separately, and then we got together about a mission trip to Africa. We didn't know it was going to be Uganda at the time. So tell us. We did this from scratch last year. And most of it was on your back. Tell us a little bit about what we had to do, and specifically what you had to do, to lead a team of 11 people last year, or was it 12 people? 11 people to Uganda.
Yeah, well, we went 2 years ago. It was just Tommy Lee, a physician, and myself. We were pointed in that direction by the Mundys. And it was a bit of an adventure, that first trip, the two of us going over there, trying to make contacts, visit different areas, see where we could offer the most aid.
Now, did you have a lot of experience in Uganda?
No, that was my first trip, first time to Africa at all. So, actually for either one of us, so the doctor and myself, and like I said, it was quite an adventure. Not only adjusting to the culture and getting out to the rural areas, but we really just didn't know what to expect. But then to go from that to making the contacts, we were very fortunate. Everything fell into place. The people that we met have been terrific, and we were able to bring 11 people over, 5 medical professionals, and then 5 other people like me, who have no medical background, and we were able to do provide a lot of aid in a rural community.
So, to either of you, tell us a little bit about what the pain that you see when you're in Belize. I know you've been to Belize as well, Chris. Or Chris, tell us about the pain that you saw in the people in Africa. Because we're going there to help people. So what's some of the pain that you're trying to, partner with God and, deal with that pain?
Well, there's social pain and there's emotional pain, and of course what we're going there to work on is physical pain, because it's a medical mission trip. And one of the stories that I always tell, or like to tell, There was a gentleman in one of the small villages. We go to small villages for the medical clinics, and there was a gentleman who came in a wheelchair, and actually no, that year wasn't even a wheelchair. The wife came and asked the doctor to go to the house, and the doctor went to the house to visit the man who was in bed. He came back to the clinic and told the story that he went to see this man, and the man was paralyzed from the waist down, and it turns out that he had fallen out of a tree stealing fruit from a neighbor's tree. So he was sort of a social outcast in the village because he had been stealing from his neighbors, and when he fell out of the tree, he broke his back and was paralyzed. Well, they had taken him to the doctor, and the doctor said, well, gave him some pain medication and said, you'll probably be walking in a month or 6 weeks. Go on home and rest, and you'll be fine. Well, our doctor had to break the news to him that he would never walk again. There was no chance he was ever going to walk. And just that whole story really touched us. Well, the next year we went back to that village, and that was the year that he came in the wheelchair. And when he came in the wheelchair, you could just tell the mood in the crowd was just one of, we don't want this guy in here. He's not welcome here. And we went out of our way as the mission team to part the people, bring him in, make sure he was comfortable, work with him, and we just tried to show God's love in that situation. And every time that we go back to that village is Caledonia, every time we go back to Caledonia, he comes in his wheelchair. And,
Oh, wow.
and so we like to think that even though we had to give him some very bad news, that maybe we've done some spiritual healing there, we hope.
And Chris, I know obviously you saw a lot of pain when you were in Africa. Tell us a little bit about that.
I think the thing that sticks with you the most is the sense of hopelessness that people seem to have. There are no medical facilities that they have access to. It's very difficult for them to get any medication at all, to get any care for any of their medical needs. And so you get this sense from them that they really don't have a lot to look forward to. And so to bring in a team and to provide all that medication, mosquito nets, HIV testing, you could just see the hope return to them, the yearning that we're going to come back each year and provide the same assistance. Just a level of appreciation was amazing.
All right, so we've gone from like you guys feeling like challenged or daunted or overwhelmed to experiencing the pain of the people. Tell us a little bit about some of the rewards that you've experienced along the way. You guys took a great big step of faith in doing what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about why it is that you keep doing it. Like, what have been some of the rewards that you've experienced?
Well, I got a wife, but she's pretty cool. I got to say that, or what would she say if I didn't say that, right? Honestly, I think the thing for me, when I'm serving in Belize, it's the closest I ever feel to God. I mean, you can feel this presence of the Holy Spirit everywhere you go and in everything you do. It's just almost like there's this aura. I don't know, do you agree with that? There's this aura surrounding you, and I mean, you just feel a warmth inside other than from the heat, and it's just a very closeness to Christ that I feel when I'm serving there.
And it's always so amazing the things that work out.
I'm going to tell the bus story?
Oh, well, yeah, we had a flat tire on a trip that we were both on, a flat tire on the school bus that was driven down from Omaha to Belize after a mission, so it was getting dark, middle of a dirt road.
Mosquitoes.
Miles, yeah, tons of mosquitoes. We couldn't get the tire off the bus, and it just so happened that another mission group happens to drive by, pick up most of the people, and then we had another group come from the village that had the tools that were needed when we got the bus back, and they actually had a spare school bus tire to put on the bus so that we could make it back in the middle of the night. And there's so many stories like that. We run out of test strips for the glucometer, and we happen to go into a place, and guess what? There's still a stack of glucometer strips that we accidentally left the year before in there, so that we can continue to do blood sugar testing. So that things like that are amazing.
Things that are just too miraculous to be called coincidences.
Yeah. But also speaking about rewards, I mean, there was a girl in Uganda last year that was 14 years old, and she had been told her whole life that she was HIV positive because her parents both died of AIDS, and the family never got her tested, never had the means to get her tested. And we were able to test her. We tested her 3 times to make sure that she did not have HIV. And to see her face light up,
Wow.
To know that she wasn't going to die of AIDS, it was pretty amazing.
Well, it's cool. You guys have seen some of the worst of the world, and you've also been some of the best of the world, and to do those things simultaneously, I'm sure is a very intense experience. If you're interested in learning more about either of these trips, the Belize trip deadline is coming up pretty soon. We still have a little bit of time for Uganda. But Rick and Chris are both going to be at the We Serve table. It's just a yellow table in the back. It's got the big We Serve banner. You know, if God might be, just kind of tugging at you to maybe do an international mission trip or just learn more about international missions, I encourage you to talk to them between the two services. I would also say if you're a medical professional with, some connections, even if it's not going to be an opportunity for you to go this year, I would really encourage you to go back there and talk to them because we can just use all the connections in the medical field that are possible. So if you could do that, we'd be really grateful. We are going to take an offering today, a special offering to fund our international missions. We'll probably take about 2 or 3 of these this year. Now, one of the reasons that people like Chris and Rick are able to go on these trips is, our participants pay the whole cost. So, money that we give today isn't going to go to the participants. It strictly goes to medicine, medical supplies, and other aid that will directly go to the people in Belize and Uganda. So last year we needed about, this year we're going to need about $20,000 to do it again. The Belize trip is roughly 5,000 to 7,000. Uganda, we're looking around 15 or so. Now, you all funded this last year through your generosity, through your vision, through your compassion, through your commitment. So we're going to start that process today. Just really want to encourage you as we take communion, we take our offering this morning. This is a way that you can just, the money that we give today is just multiplied manyfold. We can just do so much with it as we take our people to Belize and Uganda. So encourage you also.
We've never had enough medicine on a Belize trip. Every time we've gone, we've either run out of something, or we've had to try to go someplace in country and buy more things. So we set a budget and we order, what we think we can afford based on what we collect, but we have never had enough. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Same in Uganda. We ended up seeing twice as many people as we had anticipated and ran out of everything very quickly.
We do 4 clinics while we're down there, 4 one-day clinics, and we usually see about 1,000 people in those 4 days in Belize. So we can never have too much medicine.
Cool. Well, thanks to both of you, both for your witness today and your witness throughout the year.